I was on a podcast earlier today and the host asked me, whose fault is it that people are poor? Which I thought was a very interesting question. And there are two people's faults for the reason why the majority of Americans are poor financially and will stay poor. This is what I like to call the your fault and my fault. Let me break this down today, which is going to be a little bit different than some of my other videos. The your fault has to do with the economic system. You might have heard me say that the economic system is designed to keep the majority of people poor, which it is, because the economic system profits off of the majority of people being poor, which it does. The second person's fault is what I like to call the my fault, which is the individual's, your spending habits. If you're going out, making a little bit of money or making a lot of money, and then blowing the money on dumb things, that's the self-control part that plays a part into this as well. So what I want to do in this video is break down both of these two parts and really break down why the majority of Americans will never be able to build wealth, starting with the your fault. Our economic system is designed to keep the majority of people poor. What does that mean? Banks profit when you are in debt. Corporations profit when you spend money. The government profits when you are just an employee because now you pay the highest taxes. Investors pay lower taxes than ordinary income earners, meaning investors pay lower tax rates, the people who earn money from their job. But you profit when you're financially educated, because when you're financially educated, when you walk into the Gucci store, you don't say, let me buy that purse that I can't afford and let me finance it with my credit card. You say, I can't afford that purse, I can't afford that wallet, so I'm not gonna spend my money. Now, if you're financially educated and you say that, that means Gucci's not making money, which is not good for the Gucci company because that means that they make smaller profits. And that also means that your credit card company or the bank that's lending you the money to buy that Gucci is not making money because you're not taking on that debt. See, banks are in the business of making money, not for you, for the bank. The bank wants you in debt. And for the average person, being in debt means that you're financing a car, you're financing clothes, you're financing vacations, you're financing things that don't put any money in your pocket. For the average person, financing an asset means getting a mortgage to buy a home. But for the average person, a home is not a wealth builder, it's a money pit. Because as soon as you buy that home, you gotta put in the upgrades. You gotta do the maintenance. You gotta pay the property taxes. You gotta pay the insurance. You gotta pay to cut the lawn. You gotta pay for all these things to keep up the home, and it's not putting any money in your pocket. And then you might say, well, one day I'm gonna be able to pay off the home and then I can pass it down to my kids. Well, let's go through that scenario. You pay off the home and now you feel great, but you still gotta pay the expenses out of your pocket. And if your home goes up in value, you might feel richer on paper because your net worth is more valuable. But now you also have a bigger property tax bill, you also have a higher insurance bill, and you have a more old home, which means you have more repairs that you have to do. And if you don't have the income to keep up with the higher costs, well, then you might have to sell the home or pull out debt out of the home to pay those higher costs. That's why when you look at what wealthy people say, they don't say that my home is my biggest asset. They say that these rental properties are my biggest asset, or these stocks are my biggest asset, or this business is my biggest asset. It's an asset that's putting money in their pocket. But for the average person, their biggest asset is the home that they live in. And that's another reason why so many people stay poor, is because they think that this home that they live in is an asset, but it's really just making the banker rich and everybody else around you rich. Now, I'm not saying it's bad to own a house. I'm not saying it's bad to own a home. In fact, I think the average person would be better off owning a home instead of renting. But you have to wait until you can afford it, and you want to actually be able to afford the home. That's the key. But then there's a second part to this, which is the my fault. The my fault is, yeah, guess what? The economic system is designed for you to fail. The economic system is designed for the average person to be poor. But that doesn't mean you have to be poor. If you live in the United States of America, you live in a country where you have the opportunity to build wealth regardless of what skin color you are, regardless of how you were born, regardless of where you were born, regardless of who your parents are, regardless of what type of education you have, regardless of what gender you are. You have the ability to get a job, you have the ability to start a business, you have the ability to invest your money. You don't have those same luxuries in many countries around the world. Not to mention, you don't have the same capitalistic opportunities here. And so now when you live in a country like the United States, you have the ability now to either be dumb with your money, or you have the ability to be smart with your money. In fact, it is your constitutional freedom. It is your constitutional right to be stupid. Now, I'm saying this as an attorney who's not your attorney. You have that freedom. Now, when you have that freedom, you have a lot of options. You have the ability to go out, earn an income, and now qualify for a whole lot of debt, because as soon as you get a job, Chase, Visa, Bank of America are all going to be so happy to give you lines of credit and loans and credit cards, because now not only do you have an income, but in their eyes, you have the ability to pay them interest. That's what they want. And so they don't care if you use that money now to go out and buy a bunch of handbags from Gucci, or to buy a bunch of cars you can't afford, or to buy a bunch of vacations that you can't afford, because all they want is for you to be in debt, because they want to make that interest. Now, does this make them evil? No, not necessarily. This makes them in the business of generating a profit. And when you understand that, you're going to start to look at the world a little bit differently. Because what I want you to do is to use this economic system. I don't want you to get abused by the system. I want you to use the system. Now, of course, you can hate it and kick and scream and complain and cry about it. That's your choice. It's your right. But I want you to understand how to use the system, because the reality is, you can hate it or love it, but I'm just going to talk reality. It costs money to eat, and it costs money to feed other people. It costs money to feed your kids. It costs money to feed your wife. It costs money to feed your husband. It costs money to take your kids to Disney World. It costs money to take better care of your parents. It costs money to get the better health care. It costs money to get the higher quality foods. It costs money to go to college. It costs money to have a roof over your head. It costs money to drive a nice car. It costs money to have that dream vacation that you want. All these things cost money. And it also costs money to feed hungry people. It costs money to help others. It costs money to do that. Now, sure, you can dedicate your time, but if you can add money to your time, you can help a lot of people. And this is now where you understand this. Now you have the opportunity to win when you understand the rules of money, because one of the things that I say all the time is that the majority of people are playing the game of money without understanding the rules. You're playing the game of trying to build wealth without understanding how you even win in the game. It's like playing football without understanding the rules. You walk onto a field without a helmet on, you're gonna get knocked out. You can try really hard, you can learn all the plays, you can be really fast and hit the gym, but if you don't have a helmet on, you are going to get knocked out and you're not going to win, because you don't understand the rules. And that's what the majority of people are doing when it comes to the game of money, is they're playing the game without understanding the rules. And this is something that I had to learn the hard way. If you've heard me talk on podcasts, if you ever heard me kind of talk about why I started building Briefs Media, it was because I didn't grow up learning about money. I didn't grow up learning about investing. I didn't grow up learning about dividends. I didn't grow up learning about rental income. These were things that were complete foreign concepts to me. In my mind, the better grades you got, the more money you would earn, and the wealthier you would become. I didn't know anything else was in the middle. I didn't know that there was this world of financial education. I didn't know what investing was. These were things that I had never been told about. And these were things that I was told to ignore. That way I can just focus on getting good grades so you can build more wealth. But there's a big disconnect between the grades that you get and the wealth that you build. There's a reason why a lot of wealthy people, not every wealthy person, but a lot of wealthy people talk about how college is dumb, because they realize that there is this world of entrepreneurship and investing that many people just didn't feel like they learned in school. Now, I'm not against school. I got a lot of value in school. I became a licensed attorney, although I don't work as an attorney and I'm not your attorney. But one of the things that I learned was how to talk to people. I started my first business when I was in college. And this is where what I want you to understand is I don't want you to get caught up in this game of just complaining that, oh my God, the system is against me. Sure, it is, but that's just half the picture. If you really want to build wealth, learn how to win despite what happens in the system. That's why one of the reasons why I started building market briefs, which is how we started Briefs Media, was because when the average person starts to learn about money and you start to pay attention to the financial news, it's very overwhelming and it can be a lot of information. And if you don't understand what the 10-year yield has fallen by 20 basis points means, and you don't understand how that affects the economy or how that affects you, you might be very confused when you watch the traditional financial news, which is why then I built market briefs as a way for anybody, a sophisticated investor, a beginner investor, to start learning what's happening in the economy, to start understanding what's happening in the markets as the basic way to start building your financial education. It is a free newsletter. If you haven't joined Market Briefs yet, I have the link for you down in the description, but that's one of the reasons why we started that. Then the question that we would get from a lot of people is, Jaspreet or team, I have been investing in the markets for a long time and investing into the stock market every month. I have a decent income. I'm investing a decent amount of money. I just need more help on researching. How do I find good stocks to invest in? How do I find market shifts that are happening? How do I find good investment opportunities? This is when then we started building what's called Market Briefs Pro. This is a premium newsletter. It is a paid subscription newsletter where we go deeper into market shifts. We go deeper into things that are happening, changes that are happening to find potential investment ideas. This is not a stock picks newsletter, it is an investment research newsletter, but it goes a lot deeper for those that are fundamental investors that want more research, that want that deeper dive analysis into market shifts. If that sounds like something you might be interested in, you can watch a short video about it and apply for a content demo for Market Briefs Pro. If you have at least $500 a month to invest, I have that link for you down in the description as well. But this is where I didn't grow up learning this as well. And one of the unfortunate parts is there's a lot of people that then take on the victim mentality, which is the system is designed for me to fail. And then you want to point fingers because it's easier to say, that's the reason why I'm broke. That's the reason why I'm struggling financially. It's my boss, it's the government, it's banks, it's all these other people, which is the reason why I'm broke. But that's just part of the picture. Yeah, this system is designed to produce inflation. The system is designed to benefit the investor. It's not designed to benefit the employee. This is the fact. Now, what are you going to do about it? Complain about it and cry about it? Or do you want to do something about it and build wealth? Because if you want to be the person that's actually going to take care of your family, if you want to actually now stand up to this and find how do you build wealth despite what's happening, how do you actually win in a system despite what's happening, that way you can provide the best care for your family, for your wife, for your husband, for your kids, for your parents, for your community, then you got to do something about it. Complaining doesn't help. I want you to understand and have the financial education that way you can actually win in the system. And the financial education is all about, number one, how do you now build your financial preparedness? How do you save a little bit of money? How do you get out of credit card debt? How do you have money to invest? Then once you have money to invest, you start going deeper into your financial education, which is how do you actually analyze an investment? If you're investing in stocks, just how do you read a financial statement? How do you read a balance sheet, a cash flow statement, an income statement, a profit and loss statement? And once you learn how to do that, maybe you start getting interested into the real estate market and you learn how to underwrite a real estate deal. How do you find a good real estate return for you? Because now you're investing your money to grow your money, because at the end of the day, there's a limit to how much you can work. There's a limit to how much you can earn, but there's no limit to how much you can own. There's no limit to how much your money can work. Your money can work a whole lot harder than you. And when you understand that, you're going to completely change what you do with your money. That's what investing is all about. Investing is all about putting your money to work so your money can work when you're not working. That way you can take a break while your money continues to put money in your pocket. And when you understand that, then the third thing is finding a good investment opportunity. And in the stock market, that's all about understanding market shifts. That's about understanding where is the economy shifting, where are we seeing shifts in the market, that way you can find a good investment opportunity. This is where the real wealth is built. So yes, you have the cards stacked against you. And for some people, that makes them become a victim. It makes them hate everything. And that doesn't do you any good. For others, you're going to understand that. You're going to hear that and you're going to say, okay, now I have learned this. Now I'm going to win despite this. Now I'm going to figure out how I can build wealth despite this. Now I'm going to learn the rules so I can win despite this. And it takes sacrifice. There's a lot of people on the internet selling this whole idea of how you can get rich quick off of 4 hours a week and putting in the laptop lifestyle and just traveling the world and not working. It doesn't work like that. Or if it does, please tell me, because I haven't been able to figure it out. It takes a lot of hard work. That's the first part. You're going to make some sacrifices. That means you might have to sacrifice some vacations, some eating out, some nice things for a little while, not for the rest of your life, for a little while. Making some sacrifices for a little while so you can have a much brighter, a much bigger, and a much more free future where you can do whatever you want and not have to worry about money. I want you to have the nice things. I want you to drive the nice car. I want you to live in a big home, and I want you to live and have those nice fancy vacations. I just want you to be able to afford it first. Because the problem that the majority of people have is they make everybody else rich before they make themselves rich. You're so worried about making BMW rich, you're so worried about making Gucci rich, you're so worried about making every single other person rich that you completely forget to make yourself rich. Make yourself rich first, and then spend your money however you want, because now you can afford to live that nicer lifestyle. Now, again, I've been traveling, which is why I have the different backgrounds, so I appreciate you bearing with me on the videos and the audio. But if you enjoy more videos like this, let me know down in the comments. And again, if you are interested in Market Briefs or Market Briefs Pro, I have those links for you down in the comments as well. And with that, I will see you on YouTube tomorrow.